Hi, everybody. Welcome to Quill and Sword. As per chat, we had technical difficulties, so now it is officially Quill and Sword because we had our technical difficulties moved out of the way before the stream. Hey, while we're at it, shout out to Syrinscape. Their technical things are not difficult, actually. We love them. It's great. It's super immersive. It's the best thing. As you can see, we are down a SENITA tonight. She had something come up. She is fine, but we are having to game without her. We miss her dearly. We look forward to having her back next time. Before we begin, does anyone have any sort of announcements? I know Nathaniel has a book that just came out recently. You want to plug that?
Okay, yeah. So Dreams of Fire is live, and all editions are now available. So you can get through Amazon, you can get ebook editions, you can get paperback editions, both available with or without illustrations. The paperback, the illustrations are monochrome. The hardcover is now also available through Amazon. That has full color illustrations, and as a result is a bit more expensive than I would like to charge for, but like seriously, full color printing is dang expensive. So that's kind of a luxury item, but that's now available. And these should also all be available through your local bookstore or library, because I've gone through Ingram and made it available that way as well. So all that is going on, and now I just have to send out a whole bunch of Kickstarter backer rewards.
Yes. Also, give them all the reviews, because authors, especially like debut authors, need reviews, especially if you like the book. So, go on there, say what you thought. It's great. Anyone
Much
else
appreciated. There's a handful of them up on Goodreads. I don't think there's any reviews on the Amazon page yet, but yes, if you have gotten it and have enjoyed it, I would greatly appreciate you putting your words to that effect.
I am fully guilty and hypocritical and have not done it yet, but also am going to do that. So
I did notice.
I have a video review up, so there's something.
Yes, I know. And it's a wonderful review. I like it very much, but
yes, tell the interwebs everywhere that it's great. I will do this. You should do it too. Hey. So does anyone else have other announcements? Or things to plug, as it were. I'll take that as a no, because it's resounding silence. So let's go ahead and recap. I will roll a d3, which is just a d6 divided by 2. And so we have Robin. You're up tonight for recap.
Okay. So, does anybody mind if we work backwards? Because that's what I remember. We fought this giant Crom spawn looking thing that the necromancer turned into. There were changelings involved. There was a lot of really icky magic going on. The queen was down in the room where we were, and we had a lot of very bad news. Angelique had a really badass moment, though. I remember that much. Hey, Marissa, do you want to take it from here? I don't remember anything else.
So we were fighting the Crom spawn creature thing, and it turns out that the queen that we saw at the party initially wasn't actually the queen, because wasn't the queen kidnapped or tucked away, as it were, so to speak. Nathaniel.
Okay.
I don't remember the beginning. We started backwards. I get confused.
Well, I mean, we basically opened starting it immediately fighting the necromancer. Mm-hmm. I performed admirably. And so the other big thing that happened towards the end was, so there was initially a lot of reservation from the queen around the fact that a changeling had taken her place, and there was some bias and some not completely unearned skepticism about changelings in general, whereupon masquerade, uncovered their face and showed themselves to be a changeling. And then Nim did the same thing and like reverted to a changeling form. So at which point I turned to Anu and go, you or what? So, but it's just the two of them. But yes, there were two changelings in the party that none of us knew about. They didn't know about each other either. But it's given the queen reason to pause in her assessment of changelings, and was a little bit of a bombshell drop.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we got bells to summon Steve.
Yes.
We did.
Which you should have seen the amazing fan art by Caffeine and Salt in the very beginning. Oh my gosh, check them out. That was really cool. If you have fan art, like it said in the intro, join the Discord server. It's in the cards and the description. Or, post it there. Tag us on Twitter. That sort of stuff. With all that out of the way, we're going to dive right into our session tonight to see what happens after we've dealt with the Necromancer and whatnot. And we are back. So, welcome everyone. We're just going to dive right in. So, the Grand Dining Hall is a room that is actually 3 stories tall. However, it's all one single open room. Large marble columns frame a long and opulent table of exceptional quality. A crimson runner decorates the top, along with a multitude of candles that frankly are quite dimmed between the stories tall glass windows that allow natural sunlight, as well as the hanging chandeliers that adorn the ceiling. A huge array of fresh breads fill the hall with this aroma that wafts through the entire palace, from sweet to savory to spicy. Just the bread smell in itself is nearly overpowering and definitely enough to get anyone out of bed. You also have, adorning the table, bacon, eggs cooked 7-8 different ways easily, cheeses, wines, anything you could imagine for breakfast.
Wine for breakfast.
Oh yes, wine for breakfast.
I love my country.
That being said, who of you 3 thinks they would be the earliest riser? My default goes to Nim, but...
I think Nim would be.
Okay,
It
so
wouldn't be me.
Nim.
I
Oh, sorry.
I can just say that much.
Nim, you walk in to see this opulent chamber, just filled with anything you could imagine, and there are already a half dozen servants in full uniform standing with arms tightly behind their back, waiting for you to give a command or make a request.
All right, so I walk in and I just kind of peruse the table and I see all these servants, which is something I'm absolutely not used to. And I have the ring of bells, Steve's bells, on kind of tied to my apron. And I just whisper, "Well, this is a bit much, Steve. Just a little bit too much." And then I look at the servants and I say, "Don't worry, I've got this. You all can, do whatever you need to do." And then I march over to the table and I start kind of perusing the goods. And it's very obvious that I'm taking sugar cubes and apples and putting them in my apron pockets for Steve later before I get my own breakfast.
Okay. Make a perception insight check.
10.
Okay. So you see that the servants, there's a couple of them that stare at you, maybe a little perplexed. One is aghast. But otherwise, none of them say anything to you.
Okay.
Eventually, Masquerade, you hear voices from the other bedchamber, the neighboring bedchamber.
I'm gonna move to the nearest wall to these sounds and listen in a little bit.
Okay.
I can hardly be blamed if they are speaking loud enough for me to pick them up.
You can distinguish the Queen's voice, but you cannot distinguish what she is saying without a successful perception investigation check.
Okay. I need dice. I'm using internet dice today because my dice were upstairs.
Fair.
Let's see. Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. Okay. You hear the endings of a conversation with her finishing, "We will talk more about this later. Tonight. You probably have a great many things to think about." And you can, because you rolled so well, you can hear the rustling of this train of her dress, because it is weirdly loud for fabric, so it's probably some sort of like nylon-esque material. And you hear the door open of Angelique's bedchamber and shuffling metal, as well as that loud rustling for a dress.
Okay.
And the door shuts.
I'll wait for her footsteps to fade a little bit before I pop on over to check what's going on.
Okay.
I knock first, of course.
Okay. Yes?
I see you're awake. May
Oh.
I come in?
Yes, of course, of course. And she opens the door, and it does not creak at all. This is a nice door. You can even feel the quality just as you push it that little bit more. It's like heavy but smooth. And
I will slip past as appropriate.
Okay, and you see Angelique standing there. She is dressed in a brand new dress you've never seen her wear before. This is a red satin, and it is cut almost as though it were cut specifically for her and her features, with like this red ribbon choker with like a little red gemstone. She has not done her makeup, but you do see she has like a base layer of powder, like she was starting and then interrupted.
I'll chuckle because you can't really see Mask smile, and step over to help her with that. You look absolutely elegant today. if I might say. I don't believe I've ever seen this gown before.
No, it is new, from this morning. Her Majesty bought it for me.
Well, that was very nice of her.
It was. Forgive me, I need to finish my face. I never do get my lips quite right. Do you mind, like we used to?
Not at all. Of course not at all. And I'll, like, pick up a stool or something and, like, sit beside her and, like, help her with her makeup. A visit for the Queen from the Queen first thing in the morning. Now that is quite remarkable, even considering everything that's been going on. And I have to imagine it was probably not something that she wants you repeating, was it?
Not to most. But, I think that for you, I know that for you she would make an exception. And you see she kind of, her eyes start to fill with tears.
Oh, hold on, you're going to make your mascara run.
Forgive me.
It's okay, it's alright.
With everything that happened, she asked for me to be the heir. The successor.
That is amazing news. Your father is going to be beside himself, and I can see you are already. Are you alright?
I mean, yes, but...
Do you want to?
Of course I want to, but
okay.
It was never a question. It was never an option, and it would mean that I would have to stay here.
It would. You're going to have a lot to learn.
I could not go with you. She said that with everything that happened, there were very few options that she could trust, and she trusted our group more than anyone. And of all of us, not to be offensive, but the public would never accept a faun or an elf, and with me being of noble birth, it just...
No offense taken. You had all of those people listening to you the night of the ball, and you've always had this in you.
But I've always had you beside me, too. And that will change.
For a time, it might have to, but I promise you, no matter whether I wander, I will always come back for you.
You are my best friend in the whole world. And
that
she
doesn't have to change.
Reaches up and just gives you a big hug.
I'm gonna hug her back.
Wisp, you receive a knock on the door.
Come in.
Standing before you is a gentleman with immaculately coiffed hair. He has this like pencil mustache and just the beginnings of bottom tuft of chin hair. He is very upright. He's a little bit broad, but not too much so. Olive toned skin, and he is holding in his hand a platter of fruit and cheese.
To what do I owe the honor?
The Queen had said that you are honored guests, and I heard through the grapevine, and he kind of gestures to the grapes on the platter with his eyes, that you might appreciate breakfast in bed.
Well, you're not wrong, but that's usually only if I have company that I'm waking up with.
You have no company.
Not last night, I didn't, no.
Would you like some company?
Can I do like an insight check to get a vibe off this
Sure.
individual?
Mm-hmm.
This rakish man.
Let's see. Ooh, that's not good. So that's a 2.
A 2. Okay. You are picking up that this man is very obsessed with these grapes as he keeps looking between the grapes and you and the grapes and you.
Why don't we take a rain check? I actually heard there was going to be something of a buffet downstairs, and while the fruit looks lovely, I'd like to see what other options there are. I like variety, freedom of choice.
I see. Then I suppose I will leave these here as they were a gift for you. And
By
he
all
just
means.
sort of like scoots in a little bit and places the platter on an end table. With your leave. And he bows deep.
And I will bow back with great flourish.
And when he walks away, you catch like what formality was there has melted away into a weird, stiffer posture that is both a little bit clunky is maybe not the right word, but it is clunkier than the smoothness with which he placed the dish.
I'm not touching that fruit. I am going downstairs, though.
Okay, so you go downstairs. Nim, as you are putting apples and things in your pockets, the queen enters. And the servants immediately, like 3 of them audibly gasp, looking at you with these like bulging pockets of fruit. And many others of them just turn to suddenly stare intently at the carpet. Mm-hmm. Or up at the chandeliers, or basically staring anywhere but immediately at you or the queen.
All right. I bow very deeply, and then I say, Your Majesty, this is a lovely spread, and I want to thank you for your hospitality. This is such a lovely palace, and this breakfast room, oh my goodness, it's...
Oh, she froze.
Oh, no.
I'm sure she will catch up.
Is there anything I can get for you? And I start, like, pointing at the table.
No,
did you guys hear that?
No, thank you. We have eaten breakfast already. Perhaps your friends will come down soon. This banquet is entirely for you. And she does approach, and she sits at the head of the table on this opulent gilded chair with velvet backing that's just, it is immaculate. And shuffling in behind her is the same rather large man in plate armor as he stands immediately at her side at the head of the table and does not sit down. After a very short time, Wisp shows up.
So I'll approach the table. Out of curiosity, are any of the same kinds of fruits that were brought to my room also at the table, or is it a completely different spread?
It is a different spread, but there are some similar elements. It looks as though there may have been like a couple choice pastries that there weren't made enough of for this banquet table, or they weren't presented at the banquet table. And the fruits, there was a lot more grapes on your plate than there are here. The cheeses look to be mostly the same.
Okay. I'm going for the wine initially. Okay. And I'm assuming, is Nim still at the buffet table?
I've gathered my plate. It looks like I'm carbo loading, just like tons of bread and whatnot. And I've taken a seat and I'm just slathering everything with butter.
Okay, so I'm going to take the largest available glass of wine and and grab a pastry and join her at her table.
Okay, so you join her. There's only one table, so she's just sat on the side. There are like 4 different kinds of butter just in her immediate vicinity. Some of them are sweet, some of them are more tangy, some are more salty. There's like a good array of flavors here. And they're even slightly different colors of yellow. So that's interesting. And Wisp, you do catch a glimpse of that same servant walking into the room and taking a position where you never noticed one person was missing, just immediately beside the door.
Good morning, Nim.
Good morning. How are you? Do you need any butter? And I start to kind of like gesture at my riches.
I can help myself if I need it. Out of curiosity, did you get any sort of thank you delivery of fruits this morning?
Oh no, but I woke up before the sun came up. It's, just part of my routine. You get up and you do your meditation and your journaling and you make your to-do list. And then I wrote a few letters back to the orphanages to let them know, the delay and all of that sort of stuff. And then I went for a walk, and then Steve and I had a conversation just to make sure that we're on the same page about everything. And then I came down here and had breakfast. So no, I didn't, and I even got my own breakfast myself because I'm not fancy. I can do it.
I've started drinking the wine while she was going through all this. Oh, just wondering. I'm used to people coming to, give their thanks. I'm partial to more gifts of physical affection. People bringing me things. It's
Somebody brought you something? Who was it?
I'm not sure I'm ready to go there yet. I don't want to embarrass anyone, just in case it was something that he was doing, just for me.
A gentleman caller.
Someone who I've decided to assign the role of he for the time being.
Fair enough.
There are options, but I'm deciding the intent behind his arrival, and until I have that leveled out, I don't want to single anybody out. That said, I am out of the corner of my eye. I look directly at this at this guy.
Mm-hmm. Make a perception insight check.
Second. 15.
15. So you see him sort of like, his posture is no longer clunky. When he entered, it was not clunky. It was not stiff. And you see that with his rigidity, there's just like the hints of a smile coming through as he's biting back his lip just a bit and trying to not obviously look your direction.
I'm going to just sort of, I'll tilt my head in his direction, but I'm not meeting his eyes. And then I'll just bring it back and tend to my pastry for now.
Masquerade. After your talk with Angelique and getting her makeup ready, do you join for breakfast or do you go somewhere else?
Oh, that's a good question. I should join for breakfast. It will be suspicious if I don't.
That sounds like a very Masquerade thing of you to say. So, Angelique, as you are leaving, she will sort of hook her arm into yours without, necessarily asking. And
she doesn't have to ask. She knows that.
And she'll just accompany you as though you are her accompanier. And you two, after probably a couple minutes, just enough to get some bites in and finish up your conversation, you see Masquerade escorting Angelique through the doorway. And Angelique is wearing a dress that you guys have not seen, but is cut from the same very, very shiny red cloth that the queen's current attire is. The queen also has this vivid red lipstick and vivid red eyeshadow that fades to an orange and then a yellow. That's like a gold yellow as it flares up. And she has these very long, opulent ruby earrings dangling from her ears. Her head is once again shaved, and she has a headdress that has red jewels inlaid upon it. So it looks almost like a circlet. And you see Angelique looks very noticeably nervous. Like, even with...
darling, I say very quietly.
It is very difficult.
I know. Confidence, control, composure. Just keep smiling.
Just kind of give a little wave in their direction.
I do the same.
Finger wave back.
Mine's a big wave, though.
You see Angelique very noticeably, like, watches as she goes like this, trying not to look at how she's waving, and holds it for just a tad too long.
She'll get there.
And she will approach the table, and when she goes to sit opposite Nim, one of the servants, the servant that you would recognize, Wisp, actually pushes the chair back in gently, and you hear this very gentle, and gestures to the other end of the table.
Gonna glance that way. Is there anything to note?
He leads her, he takes her arm, much as Masquerade was holding it, and guides her to the opposite head of the table from the queen, and has her sit there.
I do not sit. I take up a position behind her like a bodyguard.
Okay. And when you do this, you immediately, Masquerade and Nim, would catch. Wisp, you may or may not catch, that's up to you, that there are these hushed murmurs, people mouthing things to each other so that only the person next to them could see it, and just knowing glances everywhere. Like, people were not expecting what's happening.
I'm not going to notice that.
What you will notice, though, is that the gentleman who led her there, he sort of meets your eyes for a minute and then backs away and resumes his position.
I'm going to give a fairly subtle wink and have another sip of wine.
Okay. My friends, the queen begins, and her voice echoes with this authority that betrays her standing despite her tone being fairly soft. Welcome to my home. And you notice she is not stumbling over not using we or the royal we right now. She is purposely, intentionally using this singular language. You have done myself and this throne an incredible service. While there are affairs to attend to for this evening's ball, as we will make a second attempt at that act, we have decided that all of you are to serve the crown, should you be willing. Of course, there will be extensive compensation involved. We have arranged for your friends and families to attend here. And as well, I must ask you, have you decided of what you will call yourselves?
We never did have a meeting about that, did we?
Nope.
I just whisper very loudly and raise my eyebrows. We could be the Knights of Steve. And then I eat another croissant covered in butter.
After reading the room briefly, the queen stands and her dress rustles excessively, and she nods to the servants who, one by one, take their leave. And then she looks to you and says, "Enjoy your breakfast, and we will return momentarily to get your answer. However, I find myself in need of some fresh air." And she just holds out her hand, and Sean, her bodyguard, takes it and guides her to these massive double doors made of windows and out into that main courtyard that goes down and dips into where like that maze of hedges was and everything.
I am briefly, visibly, relaxed, just relieved at the fact that we did not just get stuck the Knights of Steve.
Chat was hoping for it, as I can see.
My gift is in dance, not the written word.
Yeah, I had 2 serious suggestions. I don't know if people liked them or not.
Refresh my memory on those?
Okay, so my 2 serious suggestions were the Motley Few because we're kind of a patchwork of people, it's very different from different backgrounds, and the chandelier because during the first session, Anu crashed the chandelier and it's what brought us together. And it's kind of cheeky, and I like that.
I did kind of like the Motley Few.
Mm-hmm. I like that one too.
Okay.
Like it because it's not a name that forces an affiliation, so it's malleable. I don't feel tied down by it.
I can't argue with that logic.
I think it's good. I think it'll take us multiple places.
Yeah, because I could see us rubbing elbows with the upper crust and going to some really skeevy places with a name like that.
Mm-hmm.
As you guys are talking, Angelique just nudges you, Masquerade, very subtly, and you will see that she lifts the hem of her dress just enough to show you that there is now a dagger on a buckle on her leg. So she has a sheathed dagger now on her person.
Oh, you have been learning in more than one way. You're going to be just fine.
Do you suppose I could be considered part of your group, even though situations are as they are?
Well, so long as no one is opposed, of course I'm not.
Oh, not at all. She's got spunk. I like her.
And I say, there's always room for more.
I also agree with that.
So yeah, absolutely.
Wonderful. And after probably about 10-15 minutes, the queen returns with Sean, though the servants do not return. Have you decided on your answer?
Yeah, I think we've decided that we're going to be the Motley Few.
Motley Few. Catching. Very trendy, subversive. It is quite clever. I would expect nothing less from this group. With that being said, let it be known that for my purposes, for the purposes of this throne, you have authority second only to myself in matters pertaining to covert diplomacy. However, your existence and affiliation with the crown must remain a secret. She then whispers something to Sean, who shuffles away momentarily, and you hear him whisper something to someone else, and you didn't know he could speak. And she, and then he returns, and she signs something to him, and mouths something, which, if anyone wants to know what she is saying, as he is clearly reading her lips, so it's a little bit pronounced, you can go ahead and give me a perception investigation check.
We start off with inspiration, right?
Yes, you do. If you have none, you start off with it.
I'm gonna use that. 23.
23.
21.
Thank you,
21.
advantage.
I'm not going to bother.
Okay. She asks Sean to go tell the jeweler to make pins that would best resemble the motley few. And he then scuttles away, and you wouldn't be able to tell what he said because he's in another room. But she then turns to Masquerade. You have fascinated me from the moment I first met you in that dungeon. We do not know why, but we trust you with this, possibly more than any other. And she hands you the necromantic tome that you found.
I will take it carefully in both hands. You have my sincerest thanks with that trust, and I'll see to it that it doesn't fall into the wrong hands.
If you so desire, there is an affiliation which could perhaps help you with your studies, as it were. If you find yourself back in your hometown of Genoard, you may ask for Anna in the streets of your fair city. She should present as a beggar. However, as I'm sure you could surmise, this would be a facade. As for you, and she looks to Nim, we have arranged for one of your children to come. The one, he is now an adult, yes? I cannot remember his name. Do you recall it?
Is it Ben?
It must have been. I do believe he gave us a more formal name, but you might know him as that, yes.
Oh, Benny boy.
He is arranged to come before lunchtime.
Oh, that is very exciting. He's going to love this place. I can't wait to introduce him to Steve and to you yourself, Your Majesty. This is going to be Wisp. You have to meet Benny Boy. He's so cool.
And that's for you. And she pointedly looks to Wisp. For you, we have a special gift. But, perhaps you have already met Philippe?
Can I give a very quick basic description of the guy who dropped off the fruit?
Mm-hmm.
Basic. So that fellow?
Oh, yes. He is to help you with your particular studies, as he is, and she leans in to whisper into your ear. He is well versed in the ways of magic, as I know you are. But obviously, he cannot be overt about it in this area.
Understood, Your Majesty.
And so with that, she looks to all of you and offers this grand something between a bow and an arch, and says, I will now bid you adieu, my friends, and do not fear for your companion Anu, as I have already asked her to perform a task for me.
You could not have made a better choice, Your Majesty.
I am quite certain of that. my dear. And hopefully, if all goes according to plans, she will arrive with a special gift that will aid her and you in your request to come. And her dress rustles loudly as she spins and walks out with this massive flaming train shimmering. And
sorry.
And Angelique also stands and says, I am expected to speak with someone important in the library. I have vague memories of that place for some reason. But I am to speak with someone in the library, so I will not be able to attend you today. Masquerade. And she just pauses and meets your eyes knowingly. Thank you.
And I nod.
Thank you for
Stay safe.
everything.
Of course.
And she just sort of giggles at the, speaking at the same time thing that you guys
likewise
probably do very regularly. And then she just runs over and hugs you. And then
I spin her around and send her on her way.
When you do, she tries to gracefully assume her...
Can I help her with that?
Yes, you can absolutely help her with it. So make a performance check. This is with determination or no, cunning.
Cunning is not a thing.
Or not cunning. What did we call it? The other one.
Wit.
Wit. Thank you, wit. Sorry, cunning was the rough draft.
Fortunately, I am fairly good at wit, so that's going to be a 12.
A 12. Okay, so she walks off and she does stumble just a bit on this heeled shoe that she's maybe not quite used to, but clearly you helped her not to fall. And she makes her way out of the dining hall, leaving all of you alone to now explore the castle or what have you.
So does anybody else feel like we just became the Queen's secret police?
I know, right? I feel all respectable now.
Now that you say it that way, yes. It's a lot of responsibility.
Well, on paper, depends on what we're actually asked to do. Could be far more ceremonial than that. We don't know.
Well, that would be nice.
Well,
I'm not much of a fighter. I don't know if you've noticed.
I think you did all right in a pinch.
Given the nature of our companionship going forward, I'm certain my lord won't mind my telling you this, but it's actually not very different from what I did for him.
You do have an interesting life, don't you?
Well, you have to know what's going on if you're going to be an appropriate bodyguard.
Fair enough.
I take a little piece of paper out of my apron pocket and say, have to know what's going on if you're going to be an appropriate bodyguard. Then I put it back.
Everyone sleep all right?
I have to say, this is the
I
nicest
haven't-
place I've ever slept.
It's the nicest place I've ever slept unaccompanied.
My eyebrows just go up.
You can't see Mask's face, but they're chuckling.
Yeah. Well, it seems we have the run of this place, so to speak. Have any of you seen all of the castle? I mean, I guess we saw a significant portion of tunnels and whatnot, but this is quite a place.
Isn't it?
I look up at the chandelier. You know, I miss Anu, but I'm glad that Anu isn't here at this very moment.
I thought that the moment I walked in.
No glass in my butter, thank you.
I mean, it's not like you wouldn't have replacement butters.
Do you think perhaps Her Majesty knew what was likely to happen?
Well, given that so far as we know, the version of Her Majesty that was orchestrating most of the evening may or may not have been the one we've just been talking to, I feel like that's a bit of a muddled thing to try and parse.
You know, that's fair. I was thinking she's probably been informed. She's had all night, and she's been doing this for a very long time.
That is fair.
Very good point. You know, that makes me wonder if we are to serve in the role that we've just been given as the motley few. Are there other people we should know about that are helping the queen? Who's been debriefing? Because I will be honest, Steve and I had a slumber party and then we went to bed.
Well, obviously, I now have someone to get better acquainted with. I can fill you in on how that goes later.
That sounds good. I have to say I feel very fish out of water here, and then I take like another bite of a croissant.
Well, Nim, I will tell you one thing. If you want to know what's going on, the servants always know more than you expect them to.
Oh, I write that one down too. The servants always know more than you expect them to.
So I feel as though we would be remiss not to ask them.
Where would you start? Kitchen staff?
Likely the ones that clean the bedrooms.
Maid services. Ooh, do they have uniforms here? Sorry. Mind went places.
The kitchen staff always does love to talk, though.
Well, they're always having to prepare and do other things, and they tend to appreciate the company.
So we've got 2 places to go and check. And of course, we'll be being a little bit subtle about this.
Subtle. I nod. Should we ask the royal beekeepers? What do you think?
Do they have royal beekeepers?
I assume. I saw some honey on the table. Maybe they wouldn't know if they're not in the castle. That's a good point. So the maids, the kitchen staff, not the beekeepers, probably not the person that prunes the topiary, although they are lovely, and I would like to congratulate them for their hard work. I don't know. Footmen? Are footmen people that are in the house? Is that a job title? I think it is.
So Mask has just tilted their head all the way over and is giving you this look like they're seeing you for the very first time. That is quite an extensive list of people that, yes, are probably here and probably know more than you would expect them to know. I think that checking in all of those places is an excellent idea. You are quite perceptive.
I just start making a list. Maids, kitchen staff, footmen, maybe beekeepers? Question mark.
I think that finding out where all of this has been sourced and who's coming in and out is an excellent way to start. We'll want to know what's going on with interior affairs. It will make us more effective.
Mm-hmm. I just keep nodding like I know exactly what.
In the interest of subtlety, does it make more sense for us to disperse? I would imagine a sort of coming as a cluster might be more likely to raise an eyebrow.
Well, fortunately, you're the kind of person that can pretty much go wherever you want and no one is going to question it. It's just sort of who you are. And
lovely of you to notice.
Nim and I have a strong feeling, can probably get by under the radar other ways.
Fair enough. So I'm going to... Around what time of the day are we at this point, Stephen?
Probably about 9 o'clock in the morning.
So I'm asking because I'm just trying to think, it's probably too early for kitchen staff to be starting to prep for lunch, which would have been a good time to just go in and chit-chat. So that's probably a bust right now.
Make an insight check. A perception insight check.
18.
Actually, you do already just smell the hints of lunch being made, but more importantly, you see people moving around quickly to remove the breakfast table and to set something else up. It seems that lunch is going to be a to-do today.
Oh. So, gonna grab a croissant before they're all taken away.
Okay, you grab one from a platter just as it's leaving.
I think I might go see how the kitchen staff are getting on preparing for lunch.
All right, so you follow the servants who have very pointedly removed things in an order that seems that they took the things you guys weren't taking first and then removed the things that you were still eating from, with the exception of the croissants. And you make your way down a lavish hallway with suits of armor decorating it, and you eventually come to a familiar kitchen where you once found a almost zombie that you guys very prudently killed before it could kill you. And it seems that there is no sign now of the of any of the blood or the secret passage or anything like that.
So I am going to try and definitely keep out of the way. I am, however, I'm not trying to be innocuous. I mean, like I'm in a bright blue outfit, so like I'm not trying to go unnoticed, but I am trying to keep to the sides. I don't want to be in a place where anyone has to try and go around me and just get the lay of the staff on hand and who's up to what. Okay,
so you do very quickly notice that there is a very forceful, commanding, very skinny man who's actually fairly short, who is ordering people around by yelling commands like, "You, get that soup ready! You, those finger sandwiches had better look like fingers!" And he just continues on shouting at people for no apparent reason. Like, everyone is doing their job perfectly, and yet no one seems bothered by his frequent outbursts.
Not talking to him. Who's on soup?
You see a woman. She has her hair pulled back into a bun. It has like streaks of gray, like salt and pepper brown. And she is stirring the soup in a very precise manner. It's almost like a figure eight, as she is adding spices with the hand that she is not stirring and smelling it. And occasionally she will look around and taste and then continue on.
I'm going to come up alongside her. I'm trying to get in peripheral vision.
Yes, can I help you with something?
Oh, I'm actually just trying to get better acquainted with the castle and with the staff, and that looks and smells amazing.
Well, then perhaps you can tell me what it needs. And she ladles out a bit and offers it to you.
I will take it gracefully.
Okay. She just lets you sip it and then immediately goes back to stirring. And what you immediately are hit with is this note of sweet and then overwhelming spice just boom into your face. It is like sweet and spicy. It definitely is lacking a salt element to it. And it also feels like there's maybe a flavor missing, but you're not really sure where at present.
So, sorry, one second. It's potent. I will give you that. Could probably use a pinch of salt and maybe a little something to cut the heat. Something to lighten it just a ton. A touch. I mean, a touch. But that's, how long have you been doing this?
I have been Her Majesty's head soup du jour for, since my first child for my first husband was in diapers.
Well, I'll take that as a general indicator because, of course, I would never ask you to divulge your age. I have more class than that.
Of course. And she continues with the stirring. Where do you come from? You do not frequent this palace.
Not until recently. I was brought in for entertainment during the big to-do, but some arrangements have been made, and I will actually be staying on for a little bit, which is why I wanted to just get to know people. I don't want to just be some stranger wandering the halls. I like to just get a sense of things.
A fun. A fun. I am not surprised by Her Majesty. I do not have a problem with it personally. It is just rather unusual to hear of non-humans holding any form of significance in this country, as I'm sure you are aware if you have been here for any length of time.
Oh, I'm well aware, but trust me, I have a way of making myself significant to people.
Oh, really? Well, then perhaps you can make yourself useful as well. I have a very limited array of spices. It seems that there was a mishap this morning. Was not informed as to what, but many of my spices were apparently contaminated with something, and so I lost them. So I am left trying to make a Bayou-style soup with these. And she gestures to surprisingly few spices and herbs on the shelf above the soup.
Oh, that explains a little bit. I don't suppose you know where the stores that are not just stocking the kitchen tend to be kept, or who tends to tend to them?
Well, we get a delivery from the local farms once a week. Our delivery was not scheduled to come until 2 days from now because we had overstocked for the Queen's Golden Jubilee, which, as you are aware, I am quite certain, was a wash ever since that chandelier just mysteriously fell on top of the table, ruining my cake, and she begins ranting for a couple minutes on all of the foods that were destroyed, and then sort of brings herself back in. But forgive me. Needless to say, last night was not normal, and we were supposed to be plenty stocked for today until the Queen sprung on us that we are now going to have an event, not only for this morning with breakfast, but lunch is now supposed to be an occasion, and then tonight we are having another banquet.
So you mentioned initially being overstocked. If you were overstocked to the point that it was more than could have fit in the kitchen when you started preparing for that, where would the overflow have been put?
Oh, in the pantry and cellars. If you take the hallway down, it is 2 doors to the right, and then you will need a key.
Don't suppose that's something you have, is it?
No, you will have to ask him. And she points at the man who is shouting.
Of course. His name?
Rickard.
Rickard. All right, then. I'm going to see what I can do for you.
Thank you. And here. And she uncrumples this paper and she pulls out. You have seen these occasionally among commoners. It's essentially a pencil. But it is made with charcoal, and she begins scribbling for a moment and says, if you can bring me these ingredients, it would be infinitely helpful, because I do not know what I am doing for lunch outside of soup, because it goes a long way with very few supplies. But this would help the flavor tremendously.
Absolutely. And I am so sorry. I didn't catch your name.
Oh, my name is Genevieve.
Genevieve. I'm Wisp. It's wonderful to meet you.
Wisp. That is not a name from around here. Is it a chosen name, or is it a stage name, perhaps? Or is it from another country?
It is a name that sounds particularly delightful when you say it.
Wisp, 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 wisp. And she begins muttering wisp as she's stirring this pot.
So let's cautiously approach Rickard.
I swear, if those lady fingers do not look more like fingers than the finger sandwiches, there will be a problem. And he turns around and hello. And you notice he's markedly short for a human to the point he's at your eye level.
So sorry, I'll get out of your way incredibly quickly. There's actually some things in the pantry that need to just be grabbed and restocked. I was told you had the key for that.
A fawn? No one told me a fawn servant had joined the palace. Why would I give you a key? You are not one of mine.
Well, I mean, you haven't had me yet, but the day's young. So I'm actually just really hoping to help out. I can see things are a little bit mad. And yes, I am new to the palace. Wisp, by the way. Very nice to meet you.
Look out. And he bows a little bit. Forgive my manners. I am just a fluster, as we were informed that every meal is now supposed to be an event. And we had no prior knowledge. There was nothing to prepare. And I am literally pulling tissue paper that was supposed to be used for disposable napkins to try to make some form of decoration for the tables.
Oh my goodness. Yes, so clearly you have your hands very, very, very full.
With fingers! With fingers! And he turns and grabs a handful of cookies and a handful of sandwiches. Do these look like fingers?
It's a start.
Never mind. And he throws them away. They're trash! Do them again.
And that's sort of what I'm saying. Like, I'm fairly new to the palace, as you noted. Now, I am just trying to settle in, and I just want to make myself useful because obviously I can see there's a lot of stress going on. I would love to alleviate that as much as I can. And clearly, if they're having to restart and there is, I heard there was a little bit of a cleanup that had to happen this morning and some things weren't usable. I mean, it seems like just a quick restock would do you wonders.
Oh, it would. You are correct. Make a wit persuasion check. Or determination. You can use either one.
Checking. Give me a second. That's a 10.
A 10. It is not a hard roll to make because you made a very good point. Here, just bring it back in 5 minutes or the guards will have your head. And he hands it to you.
Fair enough. And I'm not wasting time. I am going to beeline it right for the pantry as instructed earlier.
Okay, so you do that. Meanwhile, Masquerade and Nim, what are you doing?
So my very first order of business is going to be to ask Nim how many people she has had to be in the past.
I say, well, that's a good question. When I was a child, there was a lot. Just to fit in and find a spot. But for the past, 15 years or so, I've just been this. But, I can change if need be. It might take a minute because, this is a fairly comfortable shape.
Well, my suggestion is going to be to find one or two others that will become just as comfortable as this one. Eventually, people will start seeing you around with these faces on, and they will just become part of the scenery, part of the background. You're supposed to be here. So my thoughts are we need to find a very capable tailor that can keep a secret, and requisition some clothing for these ulterior identities. And they're going to need to be people that we can take into various situations.
That's a good point. I think... Okay, yes. I think we need to make it so that it's someone that nobody would ever guess I was. So maybe not somebody so welcoming that looks like they're good with orphans.
That's probably a good point. But it's also going to have to be something that you are comfortable enough with that you can hold it as long as you need to if you end up stuck in a situation where you're unable to slip back into your own persona.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. That's the one problem when you decide you want to be, a thin person. There's just not enough breathing room in there sometimes. It's like wearing a very tight pair of pants, and I do not like it. So, definitely going to have some extra room around the middle.
Well, this isn't a decision that you need to make immediately. We can be ourselves for just now, since all we're doing is questioning the serving staff and figuring out what they know as we can, but it's something that I would like for you to think about. I've got the perfect cover for going to find that tailor. If you can get me a set of measurements and what you want for these identities that you're going to be crafting, then I can bring those things back to you, of course, and we can get to work on making sure that we've got all our ducks in a row.
Done.
I have never had someone that I could talk to about all of the nitty-gritty about this before. This is fun.
I know, I'm not even used to talking about it. There are so many people that don't know. In fact, I think you guys are the only ones who know.
Well, before today, it was only my lord and Angelique.
That's very good, though, that you found a job where you could be you while being else.
Oh, yes. So, what do you think? Where should we go?
I don't know. I think it might be good to just walk around. What do you think? And then see who we see, because, I don't want to say that servants are children, and that's not what I'm implying at all, but when I'm at the orphanage, I can tell what's going on just by walking around, and I know who's up to mischief and who knows secrets. So maybe if we walk around and, see what's going on in the palace, we might, I don't know, find information?
Wonderful. I think that that's a lovely idea. And Masquerade gives a nod and gestures for you to lead the way, because honestly, they kind of want to see how Nim does this.
All right. And so I just start walking, and I'm like, all right. And then we just very, very, a very trundling sort of walk, with a purpose, but also very happy about it.
Masquerade is good posture, hands folded behind back, the bells softly tinkling as we are going down the hall.
Okay. So, I need both of you to give me a perception investigation check.
13.
13.
That's going to be an 11.
An 11. Okay. So, Nim, you do see down one hall. It seems that Wisp is walking down that hall further down in a hurry. And you do notice that in your periphery, you just see some motion. Like it was just behind you and went down another hallway.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I kind of turn and look at that thing that was in my periphery.
Okay.
And I want to follow it.
Okay. Masquerade, you do see Wisp. You do not catch the other thing, but Nim begins walking the opposite way of where Wisp is.
Well, this is the thing that Nim knows how to do, so I'm going to follow her, trusting that she knows what she's doing.
Okay. So, you hear, because you rolled well enough, you hear a door open and close. And just as you round the corner, you don't see anyone in this hallway.
Okay. Can I tell what door was opened?
Give me another perception investigation check. Oh dear. We got a frozen Marissa again. So, you know what? Masquerade, you can make this roll too.
Perception investigation, you said?
Yep. I did not hear, Nim, if you gave us your answer because you froze.
18. Sorry.
18. Okay.
I got a 21 this time.
So, just as you pick up on which door it is, Nim, Masquerade goes directly up to that door.
I look to Masquerade. Should we go in? Do we knock?
Is there a keyhole?
You do, in fact, see a keyhole. And it's weird because Masquerade, just very ever so briefly, you were out of your body, it felt like.
That's odd.
You did not choose or knowingly walk forward. It was almost like you were drawn toward this door.
Oh, I don't like that. I'm gonna look through the keyhole really quick just to get a...
Okay. So you look through the keyhole and you see a person's body. But it's weird because it's like you can't focus on it very well. And it seems to flicker, almost like it's avoiding your focus.
Oh, someone is... I'm going to straighten and just kind of shake my head a little bit. I think someone is casting a befuddlement of some sort. Would you like to see if you can do any better?
I nod, but I say, oh dear. So I'm looking through the keyhole.
Step aside.
Okay, and Nim, when you do this, you see the flickering form as well, but also weirdly you're drawn to look in. Mm-hmm. And you realize that this isn't your desire, but you notice yourself staring for just a bit longer. It's almost like you feel a twinge of safety briefly. And each of you can give me a Arcana check. That's wit. 12.
10.
10. Actually, both of you made it. And you both would recognize this as being a sanctuary spell.
Mm-hmm.
So
right.
A person has cast a sanctuary spell. It weirdly draws you in this lulling feeling of safety, but also makes it very difficult to focus on the person.
Does it help at all to dig my nails into my palm?
Go ahead and just give me a d20 roll. You can add your wit or your determination if you want to.
Okay. So that is going to total a 10.
A 10. Okay. So, you you find yourself having difficulty with pulling out of the natural sensations that are created by this effect. It's really strange because you know that magic tends to make sort of like side effects, but this in particular has just been especially potent. Whoever this spellcaster is, they know what they're doing.
I will share that information quietly.
Okay. Meanwhile, Wisp, you arrive at the pantry to find the door already unlocked.
Going to, as how is the door set? Is it a knob? Is it a latch?
Damn it, Anu.
There is a doorknob, and there is a lock over it, and it seems like this lock is it slots in almost like a hotel lock, if you know how that works.
Yeah.
So it's like 3 prongs, and you need that specific key to open it. Yet the door is already open.
I'm going to, as quietly as possible, just sort of peer in initially.
Okay, so I need you to give me a stealth check. This requires prowess.
Okay. That is a 9.
A 9. So you open the door and it just... And you hear this fumbling as something falls. And a shit.
Well, I've already been heard, so at this point I'd just be like, problem.
You open the door and you see a person who is dressed in layers of black clothing, And it seems as though the cloak is reversible from black into a bright color. So this person probably knows what they're doing a little bit, sneaking into a palace this way.
Mm-hmm.
And you see that their masked visage is flickering a little bit, and you just feel almost drawn to step into the room, and you take a couple steps in. Just this overwhelming sense of safety has come over you briefly.
Lost on your way somewhere?
No.
Was there something I could help you with?
No. You recognize the accent is not Varisian.
Mm-hmm. Work for the kitchen?
If I said yes, will you leave?
Well, no, because I've got stuff to do here. I didn't pop in because you're here. I popped in because I have stuff to do. So, no.
I see. Well, oh, rot blast. You know what? He throws off this mask, and you see a human man with this olive tone skin, but 5 o'clock shadow, and he has a necklace that you now see dangling, and it has a interesting symbol on it. You can make a wit religion check if you want to.
Let's see. That religion. 14.
14. Okay. So, you would recognize this as being the symbol of the Keeper, who is a human deity of knowledge.
Sorry if I ruined your day by turning up.
Oh, you're fine. You're very amicable. I thought you were going to try to kill me. Clearly you're not a guard, despite what that would indicate. And he points at your rapier and your dagger.
Well, right now you haven't given me reason to, although, like, this raises a lot of questions that, honestly, I don't really have time for. So, let's just keep it really brief. Are you here to hurt anyone?
Not sure yet. I mean, I'm being honest, because, frankly speaking, you're a fawn, and it's bad luck to lie to a fawn, and, well, if I lied to a fawn, and it's not bad luck, it's still very discourteous, don't you think?
Well done. I'll go with that.
Oh, Rupert, by the way. Not a fake name, I just have this, well, I have a sense of foreboding when someone owes me something I deserve, or when someone means me harm, or when I encounter someone that I think I would dislike, and frankly speaking, you aren't ringing any of those bells. So, I trust you with my name at least.
Good to know. I don't actually trust you with mine quite yet. We'll see if we can get there. Nice to meet you, Rupert. Out of curiosity, Stephen, am I going to be able to remember, like, enough of the things that were given on the list that I can, like, start gathering stuff while keeping an eye on him?
You can absolutely do that. That's not difficult to do.
I'm going to start doing that.
Okay.
So while this conversation continues, I am just getting the stuff that was on the list, and also just anything else that is small enough for me to carry on my own, just to offer extra stuff to Rickard.
Okay. So you're gathering all of that in your armloads of stuff, and as your hands reach for a jar that is labeled Queen's Cherries, and it seems to be like these maybe maraschino cherries, he sort of slaps your hand. He's like, not that one. No, don't want that one. Those are the Queen's exclusively. Also, yes, you really don't want those. Make a perception investigation check. You can alternatively switch to insight if you'd rather.
Checking that. That's a 13.
13. Okay. You do notice a vial that is tucked behind it, and it seems to be mostly empty, at least. As your fingers just brush it.
Mm-hmm.
It clinks against the jar.
So, Rupert,
Yes.
I'm gonna head out. I'm gonna advise you right now to get the hell out because while you've been incredibly polite, it's been actually really quite lovely meeting you, and I do hope we meet again under better circumstances. I am actually definitely going to tell people that you were here, so you probably don't want to be that anymore.
Oh, well, fair enough. Very respectable of you, my lady. And he offers his hand.
I'm going to do a very slight bow and say, maybe if you're very lucky, one day you will find out.
Maybe. I tend to favor the elves, he calls after you, and then quickly pulls that hood back on.
All right, I'm booking this stuff back to the kitchen.
Okay. So, meanwhile, Wisp and Nim.
Mask and Nim, I think you mean.
Oh, Mask and
Yeah.
Nim. I'm sorry, Mask and Nim. Mask and Nim. You see this figure in the doorway. And this door, if you try to open it, it does seem to be open.
Okay, yeah, let's go with that, because, I mean, okay, Nem, I don't know about you, but my instinct here is to, like, see if the person on the other side of this door is okay, and that seems like something you could get behind, yeah?
Yeah, that sounds correct. I am a little bit frightened about what we might encounter, but if somebody needs help, we need to help.
Okay, that is a good point, so we shall open the door.
Okay, so you open the door, and you see a figure basically dressed identically to how to the character that Nathaniel just met, that Wisp just met. This one is a little bit broader, not much, and has another necklace that is much more apparent that you can see. It looks like it's an open book with a chain coming down from it. And either of you can give me a religion check if you want to know what that is.
Even if we're not proficient?
Even if you're not proficient.
Okay.
11.
And if you have jeweler's tools, I'll give you advantage.
9.
Okay, so Nim, you would recognize this as the holy symbol of the Keeper, who is a human deity of acquiring knowledge, keeping knowledge, hiding knowledge, things like that. Their chapels and temples are actually libraries.
Okay.
You don't know much more than that.
I kind of whisper, like, bookish folk.
It's everything quite alright.
Well, oh, shit. No one was
Hey,
supposed
easy,
to
we're
find
not-
me.
We're not here to hurt you, it's just that I recognize the spell you're using, and it's generally something that you do when you think somebody's after your throat, so...
And he turns this way and that. Are you guys in the room, or are you in the threshold?
Oh, I've stepped in.
I'm
Okay.
right behind Mask because obvious reasons.
Okay. He approaches and just shuts the door, and then, right, and he locks it this time. Look, I know it's going to sound absolutely crazy, but
Try me.
I am convinced that the Queen is an imposter.
Oh. Yeah, that's taken care of. She's not an imposter now.
Wait, what?
I said, well, it's a long story, and you know what? I am happy to tell it. So, yesterday was the Queen's Diamond Jubilee, and we all attended, and I was trying to get donations for the orphanages. And we were just watching, and then a new shot out the chandelier, and then everybody ran, and then we lost Angelique, and then we went through the library, and we found a bedroom, and there was a big burn mark on the floor, and then we were going through tunnels, and then there were zombies,
Nim.
and then, yes.
We don't need to be quite that granular about it.
There's you said a great many things just now, love. What do you mean by most of those things?
Okay.
And he begins pulling out a book and starts scribbling.
First, I need to make sure that you are not going to take this story and distribute it amongst the general masses.
Oh, of course not. That would be stupid. Who do you think I am? Who is Angelique? And he turns to Nim. She your lover?
She's my charge.
Oh,
bodyguard.
Your lover. Got it.
No,
and
bodyguard.
She's
like
your
my
bodyguard.
Sister. Don't do
right.
that.
Got it.
No, I'm her bodyguard.
Oh, but that's not nearly as interesting now, is it?
Oh, okay, listen. The long story short is the Queen was an imposter for a little while, and we took care of that, and she's herself again. The imposter has been euthanized.
You hear the door jiggling quite a bit. The door handle, and psst, psst. Robert! The charm says that you're in here. Robert, are you okay?
I say, who are you, Robert? Who is that?
No real names, Rupert! Oh, shit!
I say, Mask, I think that's Rupert.
I'm gonna open the door.
You open the door, and you see a man that looks a hair skinnier, but otherwise identical to the first man.
I pull him into the room and close the door again.
Whoa!
Okay. What are you two doing here?
We are running away because I ran into a phone, and
That's weird.
We've been made. We need to get out of here. Oh, what did you do?
What are you doing?
Well, all right. Why would we tell them? I don't know.
Because if you don't, then bad things are going to happen.
We are the motley few, I say, with my hand up in the air.
Is that supposed to mean something to me?
Not yet, but it will. Sooner if you don't fess up.
That's supposed to mean something to you. The one that you guys encountered points to Masquerade's daggers. And then to the knife that Nim holds. That's supposed to mean something. Well, the other one wasn't going to kill me. The other one?
Okay, hold on. We're not going to kill you either if you start talking.
I'm not sure we have time. The phone's going to tell on us.
Oh dear, okay. Elsewhere then.
We will be happy to talk with you right here if you can stop that phone from telling that we are here.
And do you feel
was the
confident that you
phone?
can keep them in this room, or do you feel more confident that you can stop Wisp quickly?
I'll stay here, and I've got this, I say.
I'll be right back.
At this point, Wisp, you have just finished with putting up all of the ingredients and putting them where people would like. So I need you guys to roll a readiness check versus each other.
Just so you know, my movement is 40 feet.
Okay.
Does that matter?
That will give you advantage on this roll.
Okay. And I needed that advantage.
Oh no.
So yeah, that is going to be... Oh, my initiative isn't good, but my roll was good, so 18.
I had 8.
8 and 18. Okay.
I got a 2 with a -1 modifier, so a dirty 1. Is that a thing?
Okay. Wow, that is special. You know what?
Right?
It is not an actual one, but I am going to offer a GM complication right here. So, Nim, you get
what?
an inspiration, and you get to give one to somebody else.
I'm gonna give one to Mask.
Okay.
Woo.
So, Nim, you hear a voice coming from outside the window. Psst! Psst! Boys! Psst! Boys, I know you're both up there. I have a charm too, remember? Psst!
Is he with you? I say to the two in front of me.
Oh, that's Rachel.
Oh, Rachel. So we've got Robert and Rupert and Rachel. Are you all siblings?
Was it that obvious?
Well, it's just the R names.
Oh, yes, we're twins. She's our little sister, but, church, family, always in it.
All right. Well, what does Rachel need? I'm not going to let you leave right now. And I hold my knife, kind of like I think I'm being intimidating, but also not 100% sure how to use it. And don't make me get Steve. I will, and you'll be sorry.
Who the fuck is Steve?
You don't want to know.
Is he Angelique's lover? Is he the one?
I mean, maybe. We've just met. I mean, who knows what the future holds, but also I don't think that they have a connection because Steve and I had a chat this morning, and honestly, if I'm being honest, Steve is a horse, and that just seems incorrect.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, no. Is he her steed? That's a clever name for a horse, actually. Steed, Steve. It's not that far off. Oh dear. Well, either way, we probably should go to the window and see what Rachel needs.
Hey, wait, you stay right? Well, no, wait, come with me. I don't want you near the door either. Oh dear, this is like wrangling toddlers.
Is there a reason that you're holding her hand? I don't know. She just acts like she's good with kids. I figured it'd make her feel safe.
So I've got both their hands. I put my knife in the sheath. We're opening the window. Rachel, I have your brothers here. What's going on?
Who are you?
I'm Nim. I am one of the Motley Few. I found your brothers. I have some questions for them. Don't worry, nobody's in trouble. Nobody's going to get hurt. It's just very important right now that we are honest with one another. And, Mask went to go stop Wisp. I think everything is going to be fine, but I just need some details here.
What is the Motley Few? Actually, Rupert whispers in your ear, in all fairness, someone is going to get hurt. If we're being honest.
Wait, are you threatening me, young man?
No. I'm not threatening you. I've already threatened somebody else.
Wait, do you have another sibling here? What's going on?
No. And we're going to cut to Wisp and Masquerade. Masquerade, you enter just as Wisp is putting away the very last of the food.
Darling, a word.
Oh, I hope that takes care of everybody. Genevieve, Rickard, I hope I will see you again. It was nice to meet everybody. I'll be back in a bit. So I'll step out.
Okay.
So we found your stray.
Oh!
Who we are about to pump for information, because apparently they still think that the queen is an imposter.
Actually, about that. Stay right there. I'm
okay.
Dashing back. Like, I didn't lock the pantry on my way out. I'm hoping Rupert didn't either. I'm dashing back to the pantry. Nope. Is it still open?
It's still open.
Good. I am now grabbing the cherries, and is the vial still there?
Yep.
Grabbing both.
Okay.
Pocketing those and coming back. So
okay.
I have a feeling that these probably shouldn't be left to go into circulation.
Okay, probably a good decision. I trust your judgment. Let's go interrogate a pair of twins, I guess.
Oh, this is getting very interesting.
They have the same face.
Lots of possibilities there. Let's go.
You're right.
So I'll follow Mask back to where they came from.
All right, so you guys all enter this room, and you hear Nim screaming from the other side of this door, scolding people.
Young man, I just want a little bit of information. Tell your sister to come up here. This is inappropriate. This is taking way longer, and it just tell us what we need to know.
We
Can I put a hand?
The door's locked.
Oh, the door is locked.
The door's locked now.
I knew. Damn it.
Do I hear them out there?
Oh.
You hear the knock, yes.
Oh, is that you, Mask?
Okay, we really need to work on you yelling about things when we're trying to be clandestine. Yes, please open the door.
Okay, so I bring the twins with me back toward the door, and I open it up.
She's talking to a mask. Oh, dear. Gods above and below, there's something going on.
What is going on?
That's a fantastic question.
Have we gotten in now?
You have gotten in?
Okay.
And you hear a branch snap and a scream, followed by a thump and rustling of bushes, followed by multiple curse words.
May I move to the window?
You may move
I drag
to the window.
the two boys with me back towards the
Lean
window.
over.
There is a tree outside the window, and you see a branch that is snapped, and a lady who is fighting with this black cloak that's blue on the inside, and the branches and the snagging, and it's a whole mess.
Okay, so, Adventurer's Kit has rope. May I sub in, instead of, like, actual rope, a, like, big, long chain of tied together scarves?
Absolutely.
Okay, I pull that out of my hat and just start feeding it out the window.
And she just grabs onto it and is muttering curses.
Oh.
She's coming up. I say, everybody, this is Rachel, and she is the sister of Rupert and Robert, and neither of them are talking, and I hope Rachel has something to say, because this is getting out of hand.
You gave them my name? What's wrong
Offer
with
a
you?
hand up. That's alright, you know all of ours as well.
I'm going to turn to Rupert. It was Wisp, by the way, so nice to meet formally.
Okay.
Did you get the job done or not?
Now that we are all in a room, we are going to have a conversation, and you three are going to explain, hopefully, that you're not assassins, because if you are, we're going to have a problem.
Rachel just takes a noticeable step backward towards the window.
Shut.
Rupert?
So
Rachel,
we're
I'll
going to
hold
be
your
like
hand,
this.
too.
So,
Oh my god,
Rupert?
okay, I almost asked with what arm, and then, like, it occurred to me internally that, yeah, you probably can have three, and that just made me laugh.
So, Rupert, we kind of had a little conversation about lying earlier.
Yes.
So, how about we skip the what? Let's jump to the who and or the why. And that answer is going to be really important because it's going to determine how the next few minutes go.
Fair. So, and Robert sort of like starts to interrupt him. He's like, I'm the best one at giving information anyway. I've clearly given enough of it.
Okay, you first. Points at Rachel.
I don't know what they accomplished. Don't ask me.
What were they meant to accomplish? How about that?
Look, are any of you followers of the Keeper at all? Religious? Some way of the Octheon?
Passingly familiar?
Alright, well, so as you can probably tell by our accents, we are Elridian. We are not from Voiray in any capacity. We came here because our chapters here, we feared, were corrupted. As the god of knowledge, the Keeper is all about, well, knowledge and knowing things. And when you begin putting a lot of the pieces of knowledge together like a puzzle, well, let's just say our superiors suspected that something was going on with the Queen. She may very well be an imposter, or otherwise under some form of enchantment magic. I'm not sure if you know much about mages or magic. Enchantment is this school where you can influence things. And...
We can actually skip this part. We're ahead of you there. We are aware of this. It's been dealt with. The Queen is actually herself now. The imposter's been taken care of. So, was your entire purpose to attempt to, in some way, deal with the imposter?
Yes.
Okay,
but
well,
how
it's
can I
done.
trust you? Hold on one moment. And you see she starts, she pulls out some chalk and starts drawing in a circle around the room. and then begins inscribing symbols, and then and you feel almost like there's some sort of compulsion in the area. Like your throat tightens anytime you want to twist words or otherwise say something that is outright false.
Mm-hmm.
And
like,
there's functionally a
turn in
zone of truth.
Circle and like look at the circle and be like, you are going to have to teach me how to do this before you go.
Oh, I mean, if you're capable, sure. This is a zone of truth spell. If you try to speak a lie in it, well, it's not very pleasant, to be honest. So, go ahead. I'm in the zone too, so we are here to stop the imposter queen from ruining the nation because she was supposed to declare her heir last night. Apparently somebody beat us to the punch or figured it out. So the fact that there's now an event happening today that has been spread all through the streets and is very quickly spreading through the realm leads us to believe that this imposter intends to move tonight. We don't have a lot of time before that happens.
Okay. The imposter attempted to move last night, and we got him.
What?
The imposter is no longer taking the queen's place, unless there was a second imposter that we missed somewhere along the way. This has all been dealt with. You guys are actually a bit behind here.
And there's an heir now.
You don't know that.
Oh, I don't know that. That's right.
Wait, so you're telling me... Who are you? Because you aren't affiliated with our church, or you'd be wearing a symbol.
We're the Motley Few.
What does that mean? Somebody tell me, what does that mean?
The context comes later. We're getting established. You'll get to say that you met us before everybody else knew. You knew us before we were cool. That, like, this is a status thing. This is good for you.
It's insider knowledge.
Okay. And her gaze just drifts to the jar that Wisp is holding, and then drifts to Rupert, and he goes,
So, is there anything else that I need to be worried about other than this?
Well, did you accomplish your end? And you see Robert say, well, I don't have the queen in tow now, do I?
You know, you had good reasons for doing what you were doing.
Don't eat those, by the way.
Yeah.
Rupert points at the cherries.
Yeah, Rupert, I actually kind of got that before.
Huh. Unfortunate that those thieves came in here and stole the queen's cherries. Lucky that was all that happened.
So...
Oh yeah, I can't say that. We're in a zone of truth. What happens to me for, like, lying?
You just have to make a wisdom save.
Oh. That would be... focus, I suppose?
Yep.
A dirty
So it's
20.
focus. Yep, dirty 20. So you feel your throat constrict and tighten, your mouth goes dry, but you still force the words out.
So it doesn't come off nearly as smooth as I delivered it, but
Right.
I still say the same
Right.
thing.
So, it wasn't gonna kill her, it was just gonna knock her out. And
Well,
if
that's
she
not
were
very
something
nice.
like a changeling or something, it would force her to revert, I don't know, you probably don't know much about changelings, but they're forced to revert if they are exposed to any sort of danger. And I also heard that they're forced to revert during sex. Isn't that fascinating?
That's absolutely not true.
Okay, and
How
beyond
would you
that,
know? Have you had
Okay,
sex with one before?
All right.
Yes,
First of all,
no.
none of your business. None of your business. Second of all, the degree to which you are comfortable with violating someone's bodily autonomy that badly, like knocking someone out, that is bad enough. But to force them to go through a physical conversion against their will, you know what? I was prepared to give a little bit of leeway to you three, but you know what? My opinion is dipping very, very sharply at this.
How would I know if I had or not?
Because they turn.
I grab his hand and I just slap it and I say, "You need to drop that."
I'm sorry, ma'am.
This is just inappropriate. And I know that you're siblings, and I know that you were raised better than this, and here you are, just acting this way, in the castle, no less.
I mean, in all fairness, she's not all royal. And you...
Question. Were you three actually dispatched by your elders, or did you take it upon yourselves to do this?
Well...
Yeah.
Robert's like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it.
That tracks.
And you hear him start to say something. I was like,
Okay.
oh, could you drop this, please? And Rachel snaps her fingers and the circle vanishes. And there's just like this hovering, sort of like dispersing dust from where the chalk was.
Is there an outline?
No, there's no outline, but the dust is dispersing where the chalk was.
That's pretty cool.
So, you were trying to say?
Nothing.
Uh-huh. Look, the only reason I'm asking is I'm trying to figure out if we are dealing with three nitwits or whether or not this is, in fact, the best your order has to offer. And in the latter case, I'm actually more worried.
Well, then I've got good news for your nerves, says Rachel.
Lovely.
Look, we found the pieces. We put them together, but you can't tell the order about this. Please don't tell the order about this. I don't want to go back to filing books again. Once you finally allowed above the basement once again, shut up.
Why do I have the distinct feeling that the harshest thing I could possibly threaten you with would be to alert the heads of your church as to what you've been up to?
I mean, and Rupert steps forward. Look, you know I'm very honest, and that would be the worst thing you could do to us. Please do not do that to us. Rachel just got out of the basement. I'm no longer on probation. Robert is finally allowed to touch the books again.
Okay. I have a suggestion, if my companions are amenable to it. Your order is all about knowledge and the acquisition of information, and clearly, you did know that there was something going on here. You were here a bit late, but you did cop to the fact that something happened. So, how about this? We won't tell on you, but you will be telling us.
I mean, look. We're chosen ones. We're clearly chosen ones. All three of us got magic. After we put this together, clearly the Keeper had a plan for this.
I press to digitate some sparkles and just be like, I am not impressed.
I'm gonna summon some dancing lights.
Oh, which one of you is doing that?
It doesn't even matter.
Look, we thought we were special. We thought we were chosen for something bigger.
Well, you might be, but that thing wasn't this. And there's plenty more to do, and clearly if you were going to be in the know about big important things happening like this, then you could use some help, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well we could use some help too. We're in the business of the acquisition of information of sorts as well. So...
Oh.
Keep the line open. And maybe think a little bit harder before you go to do things and actually, verify your information before you go trying to knock people out with poisoned cherries and...
My friend Mask here has a good point. It just seems from all the things that you've told us with, probation and not being allowed to touch books, that there's a pattern of behavior here. And I want you to be your best self. And I think the best way for that to happen is for you to cooperate with us.
Make a persuasion check and you can have advantage.
I think I'm also... Oh, yeah. I am proficient at that. Let's use
Watching
that.
them blackmail people is my favorite thing now.
Let's use that advantage. Why don't we?
Oh.
Okay, so we got 23.
23. They sort of look at each other, wordlessly consulting, and then Rupert, who apparently seems to be the de facto leader, nods and offers a hand to whoever is closest.
I'll shake it.
Consider us your in as much as we can be, assuming that the High Chancellor doesn't completely revoke all of our privileges when we come back after being gone for a week.
You might want to hop to that and maybe pick him up a nice gift on the way home.
Just tell them that the situation was handled, because it was, and you don't have to mention us at all.
Right. That is a thing we can do. You're clever. I like you. So, right. Well, consider us your contact with the scriptorium should you ever need to involve yourself with our order.
Thank you kindly. Any chance you lot can go back out the window just so we can possibly avoid any more scenes?
Well, it looks like Rachel broke the branch.
Don't worry, Mask has these scarves. They're so pretty.
Like pulling them back out of my hat.
Oh, that is a clever trick. Yes, we will go out through the window. And so, one by one, they climb down. Okay. They all made it down.
Oh, good.
Without an ordeal.
Like, those rolls have me more on the edge of my seat than anything else tonight. I hope you realize it.
So, you guys are now in the room with the poison cherries. You have averted a crisis.
I'm keeping this jar of cherries. I hope you realize that. I'm adding this to my inventory.
That is totally cool. You can add poisoned cherries. And you know what? I'm just going to roll a d20 to see how many are in the jar. Okay, so it's like half empty. There's 11.
All right. Lovely.
And you hear a bell chiming a tune like that, do 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 do, as these chimes are announcing that everyone is to convene in the grand hall.
Before we go, is anyone opposed to reporting this to the Queen later in its entirety? I'm sure she won't mind if she knows all the details.
Are we sure she's not going to insist on getting names and then blow our contacts?
If we explain that there are contacts and that they're going to help the nation of Warre, I don't think she will.
Okay.
Well, also, they said they were going to change their behavior, and that counts for something, doesn't it?
Sure. All right, so I guess we head over
To the Grand Hall.
Okay.
Lunchtime.
So you guys head to the grand hall, and the grand hall is adjacent to the dining room. And you have to walk through the dining room to get there, and you see there's already an opulent spread, and there's a couple noblemen that you would recognize from the party now just hovering around the food, occasionally sniffing it. Sometimes you might see a spouse just slap a hand and guide them back to the main hall. Everyone has apparently gotten the memo to wear crimson red. And you walk into the Grand Hall and you hear this voice announce, Her Majesty, Queen Chanel, and accompaniment Lady Angelique de Genoise. And you see the Queen walks down this massive staircase to this platform that's still leading to another stairway. And Angelique is walking from the other way. And Masquerade, you don't even have to roll for this. You see she has these tears welling in her eyes, but there's also this strange posture of pride and accomplishment that is very rare for you to see in her. And the Queen looks out over the populace, and almost like the wave, they kneel and bow.
Same.
And then she looks back over and they rise. My friends and fellow gentry, we are gathered today not only for a delicious lunch, but also as unfortunately we neglected an important detail last night. Therefore, it gives us incredible pleasure to reveal to you our successor for the throne of Valais, Angelique de Genoise. And this applause just washes over the crowd. And you see Angelique's chest is just heaving, and yet she's maintaining every degree of composure. And there's just like a little bit of crying.
It's okay, I'm crying for her. I rolled a 2 on my composure check. But I'm wearing a mask, so it's okay.
I whisper to the nearest person next to me, I know her!
And now, I would ask, and you notice she's not using Royal We right now, that my successor be the first of this afternoon luncheon to don her mask. And you see Angelique puts on this beautiful golden mask that complements the accents of her jewelry, and it has this single red stone that mirrors the Queen's own headdress's red stone. And the Queen then puts on her mask, and then everyone else puts on theirs. And she dismisses them. They begin filing in for lunch. And everything is going pretty well, all things considered. You hear an explosion outside. And the hedge maze is on fire. And that's where we're going to end it.
Of course.
Yep, that sounds about right.
On the plus side, if you burn the maze, it's easier to get through. So, nothing to solve.
This had better not be those kids.
So, with that, we are going to adjourn for the evening. Thank you, everyone, for joining us in chat, live, and on YouTube next week. Obviously, like, share, subscribe, follow, all the good stuff. Check out Nathaniel's book. It's great. I'm going to review it. You should too if you haven't. And until next time, everybody, remember, whether it's on the page or at the table playing D&D with a bunch of writer friends, tell your story your way. Bye.